Hey, it's Sri here. In today's video, I'm going to talk you through how to manage and deal with the pain that comes with a man that's giving you constant mixed messages. Now, before we dive in, I know that dealing with a man who's constantly giving you mixed messages can create all sorts of uncertainty and pain and so on in your mind. And so, my heart goes out to you because it leaves you in a place where you just don't know what to do. But I really want you to know that it is possible to create those shifts. Just like some of my beautiful clients like Laurie and Angie and Monique, all these incredible women who've created shifts in their marriage and within themselves, transformation really is possible. So make sure you stick around and watch this entire video. Make sure you hit that subscribe button below and click on that bell notification as well, so every week you get access to my latest videos where I talk you through how to heal from infidelity, how to deal with separation, and how to learn more about male psychology as well, so that you can learn the differences between the way in which men and women communicate and use that to your advantage in terms of dealing with your husband right now. I was speaking to a client the other day and she was explaining to me about how there was a scenario where her husband came over one day because they're separated and they were spending some lovely time with their kids, and then the kids went to bed and then they started to have a little bit of quality time with each other, and they were sitting on the couch and joking, having fun, a little bit of light flirting, but no physical intimacy, and they were having some beautiful conversation just about the future and so on. And then he left. And then a couple of days later, they have a conversation. He's basically saying, look, I don't even want to be friends. I don't want to be in your life anymore. I just want to maintain the situation for the kids, and that's it. And naturally, it's going to create a lot of confusion for this woman because, on the one hand, she's having these lovely interactions, and then suddenly it just turns 180 overnight. And you're thinking to yourself, what's going on here? How has it got to this current state? Is there something that I did wrong? And so on. So these mind games can start playing very easily. And, my heart goes out to her and potentially you as well if you're having to deal with a similar situation, because it really can mess with the mind. And I can understand from a male perspective how confusing that would be. So what I want to do is I want to explain to you the reasons why that behavior occurs and then what you need to do in order to move forward from that. So there are 2 points that I want to make when it comes to why it happens. The first is that he does care, I do believe, but his survival instincts kick in. Now what I mean is that if you're going through a separation, then the chances are that this has been building for some time. He'll be thinking things like, do I want to be with you? I don't know. I'm not sure if you're the right person for me anymore. There'll be a lot of these different thought processes going on in his mind. So it's taken a lot of time to get to that place in his mind. Then suddenly you've gone through a separation and then you're having these conversations where you may be flirting and having a little bit of fun. And then in that moment, he's obviously enjoying it. But then after he gets out of that environment, there's going to be some times where he's sitting there going, oh no, what am I doing? I'm confusing her. I don't know what to do. And it sends him into that survival mode. And what we do in that survival mode is that we try and protect ourselves. And his way of protecting himself in that situation is to essentially be cold, to be cruel, to just be blunt, just to try and get that message across so that it doesn't leave him in a vulnerable position. It's just to try and get that message across to you that he's finished. Now the reality is that I do believe in a lot of these instances that the husband still cares. But the problem is he's gone through this process, this decision-making process over the last, months, years potentially. And now what's happening is that there's a little bit of that spark being brought back in, and that's creating the confusion in his mind. Now to explain this situation a little bit better, I want to just give you an example in my own life. Years ago, there was a lady that I was quite attracted to. And this is when I was single. We had actually had, a fairly good connection. But what happened was she had some, demons in her own mind, and she was a little bit fearful of what was going on. So we had this connection, and we would have these lovely conversations, and then out of the blue, she would just vanish, and she would completely disappear. And then maybe a month would pass, and then she would get back in touch, and we might have a nice conversation again, and then suddenly it would be distance again. And that would really mess with my mind because I'm going, hang on, is she keen? Does she want to be with me? Does she not? I'm really, it kind of messes with your head. But in her mind, She wasn't quite ready, so she got into survival mode, and then that led her to just escape, to back off completely. And it's the same sort of thing that we're dealing with here as well. Now, you may have been in that experience where you may have dated someone and then you got scared and so you backed off, potentially. Or it may have just been in other areas of your life where fear kicked in and your reaction to that fear was to try and get away from it. And that is the fight or flight response that every single human being on this planet runs into. Everyone has just a different response. So this is why men tend to operate like this at times. Now, the second reason why these things can occur is that it's what I call the mirror effect. Now, this goes beyond him, and it's more about the internal world within yourself. Now, I'm a real big believer that what we hold on to on the inside in terms of our fears, our limitations, our insecurities, our deeper core wounds, tend to be attracting the experiences that bring out that pain inside of us. And what I often find is that individuals that are dealing with those sorts of experiences where the husband tends to vacillate quite a bit, or there may be other experiences where they feel like they're getting rejected, often what that does is that reflects their own feelings of rejection that they haven't necessarily processed, or abandonment, and so on. So sometimes what can happen is the energy that we're putting out there can result in the other person acting the way that they are, which then reflects back to us the feelings that we hold on to that we haven't necessarily processed on the inside as well. Now, this can be quite a difficult concept to understand because some people get quite triggered by it. You know, I can understand why you probably listen to this and thinking, what, so you're saying it's my fault that he's acting like that? But what I really want to be clear about here is that what I'm trying to explain to you is the magic that comes when we start seeing relationships as a mirror for our own challenges. If we start to see the reasons why people are treating us and look at it as aspects of ourselves that we also need to heal, once we heal that, then those people start to shift. So we get to a place of real empowerment. So if you are noticing patterns, not just in your marriage, but in other areas of your life as well, where people don't give you the attention that you want, and then that brings up feelings of rejection, or you may have a situation where you message a spouse or someone and then they don't respond to you, then sometimes that can create a lot of emotions inside because it's bringing out wounds of abandonment. So there's lots of deeper aspects to this journey than just looking at the behavior and trying to get that person to change. So just keep this in mind, keep an open mind with it. I know it can trigger you a little bit, it definitely triggered me when I started learning about this stuff. But believe me, when you understand this, when you embrace this, and you start to create the shifts that you need to, it is a complete life changer. So then from here, what do we do? What are the steps we need to take? So the first is don't take it personally. Now, if any of you have read the 4 Agreements book, you'll understand that the second agreement is to not take things personally. Now, you see, when your husband's acting the way that he is, it's hard to not take it personally. So once again, you might be listening to this and getting a little bit triggered. But just remember that the way he's acting is a product of his mind and his conditioning. Your own thinking and your own mindset is your own unique experience. And even though he might say certain things, it doesn't necessarily mean that he's actually seeing it from your perspective or understands at all what your mindset is. He's purely looking at it from his point of view. So whilst I totally think it's important to allow yourself to feel the pain and the hurt and acknowledge it, you also have to remember to not take it as something about us. It's more about their world and their pain. And that doesn't mean you attack them, but it just means that you can detach yourself a little bit from it. So you can recognize, hey, look, he's going through his stuff, he's going through his challenges, but my reality that I'm going to choose to create is that I did the best that I could. I honored my own truth, and I am a loving, beautiful human being, and I'm going to make decisions to move forward and be positive and happy and joyful and be peaceful no matter what the circumstances. So that's the first step we need to take. Secondly, an extension of that is to really empower you. You know, take some time to fill your bucket up, but at the same time, allow yourself to step into true self-acceptance, which means honoring both your thoughts and your emotions that you're feeling. You know, you don't want to suppress your emotions. You want to allow yourself to experience them and accept them. Now, there is a beautiful way that I take my clients through, which can really help you to accept and really learn you to release those. And then once you release those, you're able to find a greater level of inner peace and happiness and all those good emotions on the inside. So if it is something that you're wanting to learn a little bit more, just make sure you click on that link below where it says book a call with me. Click on that link, choose a time that works for you, and then we can have a chat and I can teach you a little bit more about the strategies that I use to be able to help my clients create those shifts. Going back to the self-acceptance, as you accept your thoughts, accept your emotions, then what happens is on a mental and emotional level, you start to approach things in a much better way. And then you can start engaging in activities like, you know, getting a lovely massage, treating yourself when you want to treat yourself, doing those things that bring you joy, helping yourself find more happiness. It's so important that you fill your own bucket up. We want to do those smaller things, but we also want to do some of the deeper internal healing as well. And then thirdly, you want to make sure you play the long game. You know, transformation in relationships and our own growth as well takes time. Don't expect things to just shift overnight. And you've got to do the work. It's as simple as that. You know, everyone has lovely intentions, but at the end of the day, it will die on your lips until you actually create the shifts, until you actually take the steps that you need to take. But even when you do the work, you've got to stay patient. You know, I've got clients who have had their husbands come back after 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year, 18 months. It can take time. But the beauty is, as long as you're healing in the process, then that healing is going to allow you to be able to manage your emotions and manage yourself beautifully and actually grow to a place where you're enjoying life so much, even whilst you're going through a separation. It's such a powerful thing. You've got to start now. You've got to create the shifts now. And then that will make the process a lot easier as you're going through it. But if you're not doing the work and you're desperate and you're trying to save that marriage right now, but it's taking a little bit of time, the impatience is going to get to you and you're going to struggle. And I don't say that lightly because I feel your pain. I know what you're going through and I understand how difficult it is. And that's exactly why I've created my Authentic Relationship System training program, because I want to help my clients to be able to heal from infidelity. I want to help them to create the shifts that they want in their marriage and deal with separation, all of those really difficult things. And it's an absolute possibility. You can do this. You know, it's an incredible program and it goes deep into the transformations that you need to make. It's going to encourage you to ask questions of yourself. It's going to help you to grow, and it's going to allow you to lay the platforms that you need to for the future of your marriage and your family as well. Not to mention the impact that it's going to have on your family because of your own growth. So if it's something that feels right for you, if you resonate with my material, then I'd love to hop on a call with you. Just all you need to do is just in the description section below, just click on that link which says book a call with me. Just click on that link, choose a time that works for you, and then I'll contact you at the scheduled time just so I can learn a little bit more about where you're at now, where you want to get to, and how we can bridge that gap in the fastest possible time. I can't wait to be of service to you. And thank you so much for placing your faith in me. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you've liked it, make sure you hit the like button below. If you want to get more videos like this, hit that subscribe button. And do let me know what your biggest takeaway is from this video as well. I always love hearing the comments and the questions, so make sure you write them below and I'll respond to every single one of them. If you want to learn how to heal from cheating, click this video above. And if you want to learn the 5 reasons why your husband wants to separate, click this video above. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you in the next video.